Amazing movie, no? Do you love it? Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Gregory Ellwood. I am with awardscampaign.com, and it is my extreme pleasure to welcome to this Q&A the one and only an Oscar winner who needs almost no introduction. Please welcome Marion Cotillard. So first question for you is, I was seeing some interviews with you and you were talking about the fact that you'd always thought you would play Lady Macbeth at some point, but you had envisioned it in another way. Is that correct?
Well, yes. When I was in acting school, one of the students actually worked on one of the Lady Macbeth scenes, and I had, I don't know, from that day, I knew that I would one day be her, but I thought it would be in French and on stage and in French. I've never expected that some crazy director would actually ask a French girl to play Lady Macbeth.
And what was your first reaction when the director, Justin, came and asked you?
Well, I thought they must have like French money in the movie, and so they need to have a French cast. But actually he said no, because there was another actress before who was Natalie Portman, and she wanted to direct her movie, and that was the right time for her. So no, I asked him. I was very surprised that they would ask me, and he said that he thought it was interesting to have a Lady Macbeth with like kind of a foreign flavor, and that would, make her even more singular. So, yeah.
So when you were talking to him and he had his vision for the film, which is clearly on screen, it's gorgeous, but also sort of the interpretation of some of the characters is slightly different or often what maybe other actors had done or other directors, which is what makes the movie so special. What did he talk to you about how he envisioned Lady Macbeth and her motivations and her sort of personality? And how did it sort of frame with what you had always thought about the character over the years?
Well, Justin could find humanity in a chair. He is honestly, he loves human beings. He loves the people, and he wants to find in anyone the humanity. And when he talked about his vision, because I talked to him on the phone, and it was the first time when I got the offer, I talked to him on the phone. I had never met him, and it was his second movie. So I was like, wow, he's it's kind of risky for a second directing, to jump on Shakespeare. But then when he talked about what he wanted to do with the story and how he wanted to find the humanity in all those characters, I thought it was, that's what I try to do with every character I take on. So the way he talked about it, the way he talked about the direction of the way he loves to work with actors, everything was, yeah. I just wanted to say yes, even if I was. Again, it was his second movie. It's kind of it's a lot to take,
Well, this actually ties into one of the audience questions we had, which was, what were some of the influences that you drew from for this particular Lady Macbeth? Was there anything that you'd seen before? Was there anything you'd read, whether in your life or just anything that had sort of influenced your approach to the role?
Well, we before we started shooting, we worked for a month and a half with it was like it was a rehearsal period, and it was like a theater rehearsal process, and we worked with this amazing Shakespeare expert who's a dialect coach, but he's also like a real Shakespeare expert. And we studied the play, we studied the dialogues, because there are so many choices that you can make with only one sentence. Shakespeare, I mean, of course, I mean, just Shakespeare, it's so rich, it's so human, it's so vibrant, that during this process we really built our characters all together, and it was an amazing thing to explore different ways, different versions. And but obviously, well, where she comes from is the death of a child. So it really brings humanity, and at the same time loss and madness to those characters, and that starting point was obviously very important.
Well, one of the things I loved about your performance is, unlike other actresses who have played her in the past, you did not play her as sort of overtly scheming as like some other actors had. And I'm just curious, was that a specific choice you made? Was it something that sort of just happened in terms of being on set and the sort of the tone Justin was going for? Or is that even a surprise to you that someone might react that way?
Well, that was the choices that we made with Justin to really show her humanity. And I mean, if she was just that monster, she wouldn't go crazy and kill herself when she realizes the monstrosity that she ignite, yeah.
Ignite.
So that was the choices from the beginning, but then we worked on different version of her during the rehearsal process, and the fact that what came out of those rehearsal was that maybe she's more in love with Macbeth than what we think, and the way she acts is to create a different life, to create a different destiny, which is based on what was in her past, with the tragedy that was in their past, more than just like being this horrible woman who turns his husband into a monster. There is much more than that to her, and that's why I really wanted to do the project. When Justin talked about it, he talked right away. He talked about this humanity and this love.
Did it reassure you that someone who had just, this was going to be a second film, was so committed to doing a long rehearsal process? Because I believe you guys rehearsed for a month, correct?
Well, I didn't, honestly, the first time I talked with him on the phone, I didn't need to be reassured more than that, because this conversation was really, I need to work with directors who need to direct, who need to tell a story, who have something in their hearts and their guts that needs to come out. And the person I had on the phone that day was definitely this person, this artist who needs creation to express himself. And so I knew from the first phone call that he would be a great director, and he is. He's one of the best directors I've worked with, and I'm not saying this because
that's a big compliment. You've worked with some amazing
honestly,
directors.
And it's actually kind of rare to find directors who are really great directors for actors, and I had many times I was disappointed by journeys with a director whom I thought would give me everything I had always waited as an actress, this harmony, this between a director and an actress. And just before I did Macbeth, I worked with 2 Belgian directors, the Dardenne brothers, and it was the first time I was on set, and I had this this osmosis. Osmosis? No, that's not. Yeah, osmosis with 2 directors in that case, and I thought, well, that might be the last time I get this. and then I arrived on Justin's movie, and that was exactly the same. I mean, it's not the same process, that they're very different, but it was the same harmony.
You made the movies back to back. Do you feel, having made the Dardennes brother movie, do you feel like that put you into a rhythm that therefore let you, when you started working on Macbeth, that you were sort of in a groove already, that you were sort of like, does acting work like that for you? Do you feel as though it's rhythmic in any way?
No, honestly, I was super tired.
Not at all.
I had been depressed, taking pills, attempted suicide in Belgium like a few weeks before. And I really wanted to rest. But then when I got the call and they offered me something that was unique for a French actress, like playing Shakespeare in English, it was something that I couldn't say no to. So no, I was just more tired, but I used it. I mean,
and cold, right? Because you guys were shooting in the winter in Scotland.
But I think it's, the elements were violent, but it's a violent story. It's violent feelings, violent emotions. So we used it. We had to. And I thought, and then when we were in Scotland with the wind, I couldn't stand. Like one day, I fell, and 4 people had to put me back on my feet. And I had to find like the right position not to fall again. This is something that really adds to your fight against element, fight against your emotions, fight against your life. The hailing was horrible, but then again, we used it.
Wait, there was hail while you were shooting?
Hailing, yeah.
Hail?
Like ice coming through your face, like people throwing very horrible things at you, and you pretend that you're on a horse, and well, she doesn't feel very good at that point, but that was really interesting to work with the elements, because it was so beautiful, first of all, and under the sun it wouldn't have worked anyway. So
well, for any actor probably in this audience, the idea of taking on Shakespeare can be very daunting, even for people who English is their first language. Did the dialogue itself sort of scare you at all when you considered the part, or was it, I do this all the time?
I do this all the time. No, I was. I don't even know how. I was totally freaking out, and usually when I start a movie, the first days it's always hard. It's always like I'm shaking, but then it goes away. I find my marks, but this one I never found any control or marks or anything. I freaked out every day, which was uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. Not that I'm looking for comfort when I work, but at least, and I don't want to control things, but just a little bit so I can like actually enjoy being on set. This one, it was kind of a very, very brutal joy every day.
So were there moments where you weren't sure whether you actually had achieved what you'd wanted to in the scene, or did you feel as though it was just? Did you have to see the movie to sort of feel like, oh, yep, I nailed it. That's what we wanted?
Well, that never happens, but it might be a good thing. I take it as a good thing. I mean, being proud of ourselves is, the insecurity of an actor. I don't know when you're proud of yourself, which is, again, a good thing. No, every day I would go back home and I would be like, oh my God, I'm going to ruin this movie. And I was like doing my lines again, thinking, you didn't say no, you say no. And I would go through every little words because it's Shakespeare. I needed to. And again, so many amazing actresses gave timeless performances of this role that it was the first time actually I felt pressure on a movie. I remember doing La Vie en Rose, this movie about Piaf, and people asked me, did you feel the pressure of taking on like such an iconic role? And I never felt the pressure at all because I didn't think back then. And then I started to think when I was doing Lady Macbeth, and the pressure was really, really, and I was like, I can't believe I have this pressure. I just have to do my work and go to rehearsal every day and be there and work again and again and on my lines, but the pressure was still on, and it never left. But
was the pressure there for Michael as well? Because, obviously he's playing Macbeth, and this is basically a twofer in many ways. Did you guys sort of lean on each other at all, like, during the production?
Well, yeah, we had this this pressure of those roles. I can't talk for him, but I know that I don't know if he had the same pressure the one I had, but because also we had worked a lot before, so it takes a little bit of the pressure away. Not for me. It didn't. It didn't. But
well, I know in another interview you said that whether it was in rehearsal or on set, that he would sometimes surprise you. And I'm curious if there's anything that made it into the film, a moment, or maybe it was just a take or something that he did something that sort of changed what you guys had originally thought the scene or moment might be.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I came on set and he put his hand behind my dress and I didn't know anything about it, and I was like, okay, well, and I thought it was an amazing idea, actually. But I didn't know what he would do. And he started to do that, and I was like, okay, man, how do I do this? But he's a very, very smart actor, and some actors want to be very creative, and they will try to find a creative thing every day, but it's not connected to the story, and it's not connected to the whole process, and so it's going to be sometimes interesting, but sometimes a little bit off. And Michael was so into it that all his ideas were amazing and surprising, and every day I would come on set and I didn't know what would happen to me.
The other
but the confidence that we had in each other and with Justin was like, I was ready for anything, and I knew that it would it's actually really, really amazing to come on set and to be surprised every day. It's something really amazing to live.
And you just worked on with him, I believe, on another movie, correct? On
Yes.
Assassin's Creed. Is he also is that just Michael in every film that he makes, or was it just because it was Macbeth? Like, is that his sort of idea to come on and surprise people?
Well, the movie we're shooting right now, I mean, we just finished. I mean, not really, but is very different. So, but he always comes with great ideas. So it's a little bit the same.
Well, I was going, the line of questioning where I'm going is you talk about the idea of you like a little bit of control sometimes on set. You mentioned that. You like to be slightly, to know what you're doing, what's going on. You had mentioned just in our conversation. And I'm just curious, do you like actors that surprise you? Do you like working with other actors that sort of, do something out of the blue that affects
Well, if
you?
it makes sense, and if it's to serve the whole movie and the whole story, it creates sometimes magic. If it's to only serve your character and to be, like unique and singular, just to be singular and unique, and it's not totally connected to what everybody is doing on set, and if it's part of this energy, it's really amazing.
I wanted to ask one other. We had one other audience question. Did you talked about feeling the pressure of taking on such a iconic role? Was bringing her to life rewarding or scary to you?
Very scary. I do very dramatic roles. Too much. But all the very dramatic roles that I experienced, that I had an experience with, there was in each one of them a little bit of light. And this one was very, very dark. It was very, very dark. And I struggled when in the rehearsal process. I realized at some point that I was struggling with her, and that I had a hard time to let her in because she was so dark. But then I had to. But then every day I didn't know if this kind of fight that I had with her within me, I mean, you guys can understand this, so I can talk about it. Like, I wouldn't talk about this because it can be like, it can sound totally weird. But every day was kind of a fight, and at the end of the day, every day I was like, I don't know if I managed to let her in, and I was always worried that I fought too much against her because she was very hard to live with.
Are you like that with most of your characters, or was it just this particular case? Like, have you found other roles you played that were sort of that daunting, or sort of haunted you in a way?
Yeah, but when I do a movie, it's like I enter a different dimension than my life with my family, and so it's always a period of time that is kind of very, very special, very unique, but at the same time it can be sometimes hard because, as I said, it's always very dramatic. But this one was the hardest role that I had to do because all the things that I just said.
For most of your roles, do you do research? Do you dive in? Do you look into history? Do you look at past performances? Do you do readings on Shakespeare and interpretations and theories about Lady Macbeth? Or is that not something you sort of want to go down a road for a role like this?
No, I love to do research. I think that you never work too much, and to feed yourself with what comes, because that's usually when I start working on a character, I put myself in I do research, and then I put myself in a kind of a state of meditation in a way. Like I open myself to what's gonna come first, and then I study what comes first. It's gonna be like a song, it's gonna be an image, it's gonna be a feeling, and then I work around those first things that came to me in that very special state of waiting for the character to help me be this person in a way.
Well, I know that we're not going to take audience questions here, but I know that one question I'm sure many of the members of the audience would like to ask you is, if you had one piece of advice to any young aspiring actor, what would it be?
It would be, well, first of all, the work is one of the most important things for me. There was this actress, Romy Schneider. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She was she was a European actress, and she used to work a lot on her roles. And I read her biography when I was a very young actress, and I remember her saying, "I will work my character. I will experience like 50 ways." And even if the first road was the best one and the good one and the right one, that would be enriched by the 49th others. And so it was really like something that I took as an advice. And that's what I do. I try to experience and to be open as much as I can. And I try to let the character in and not try to create a character in a way. I just, as I said, open myself and see what's coming. But the work is one of the most important thing, to give yourself time to work on a character, to really, well, first of all, when you love a character, it's just more time to work with him or with her. So I would say work and never protect yourself from the character, but protect yourself from what? It's kind of hard to find the right protection you need in your life, but then to stay totally unprotected, so everything can happen.
And I think that's a wonderful way to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Marion.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the role.
Thank you.
Thank you all for attending.